The final chapter on JFK, Chapter 13, Say It Ain't So, Segment 1, Oswald Interrogations.
Welcome back. I'm glad you tuned back in. This is Chapter 13, Say It Ain't So. This segment is called Oswald Interrogations, and it relates to all of the interactions that Lee Harvey Oswald had with various law enforcement agents and agencies during the time that he was jailed at the Dallas City Jail. Beginning at approximately 2:15 p.m. and then later 4:05 p.m., various law enforcement agents intermittently interrogated Oswald. The Dallas Police Department and the other agencies that were involved in either participating in the interrogation of Lee Harvey Oswald or observing the interrogation of Lee Harvey Oswald all forgot to carry out the basic police practice of taking notes. Depicted up on the green screen is the third floor plan for the Dallas Police Department. There are red arrows pointing at different areas of the Dallas Police Department's third floor. One arrow is pointing to a recording room where suspects could be recorded when they were giving interviews or being questioned by the police. Another arrow points to the secretary personnel room where secretaries were available who were ordinarily qualified in both shorthand and note-hand in order to take transcriptions from either their bosses or criminal suspects. Also contained on that floor, an arrow is pointing to the supply room where both paper, pens, pencils, and notebooks were contained. And of course, there was a communications equipment room where tape recorders were available to be used if suspects were being interviewed. One final area that is visible on the third floor plan, right out of Captain Fritz's office door, was something called the interview supply room, where of course all of these items were available and could be used by any detectives or officers who were interviewing suspects right in that area. But for whatever reason, none of these supplies were used, nor was a court reporter asked to come in and take transcription of what the suspect was saying. At approximately 6:10 p.m. that evening, Lee Harvey Oswald was arraigned in court for Officer Tippett's death. At the time, he was not charged with Kennedy's death nor the shooting of John Conley. Shortly after that, he was taken to an assembly room in the basement of the police building for one of 3 non-public witness lineups. During this time, Oswald began requesting the legal services of New York attorney John Apt, who was known for representing criminal clients charged with conspiracies against the government. About 5 hours later, Lee Harvey Oswald was officially charged with the murder of President John F. Kennedy, even though he was not informed of the charge at the time. The actual charges of Oswald for killing Kennedy and wounding John Conley were filed at approximately 11:44 that evening, just a few minutes before midnight. Why Oswald was not told about the charges that were filed against him is still a mystery today. Oswald, by Texas law, was required to be transferred from the Dallas City Jail to the county jail within 12 hours of being charged with a felony crime. Since Oswald had been charged with his first felony, with the killing of Officer J.D. Tippett early Friday evening, he should have been transferred to the Dallas County Jail early Saturday morning, as required by Texas law. Finally, by Sunday morning, Oswald was interrogated for the last time at approximately 9:30 a.m. He was interrogated for almost 2 hours. At the end of the interview, when Oswald was being transferred, he shouted out to the crowd of reporters, quote, "I'm just a patsy." For 12 hours, Lee Harvey Oswald was interviewed and no notes were taken. They could have also brought a court reporter in. They could have had a tape recorder. They could have brought a secretary in. None of that was done. Can you imagine even his arraignment where he would be talking? It was neither recorded nor was a court reporter there transcribing what the judge and, more importantly, what Lee Harvey Oswald was saying. Now, as tragic as that may seem, there is something that could be worse. And that would be maybe a silent press conference where you bring the suspect out and present him to the public and the press for no reason at all. That's going to be in the next segment. See you then.